Welcome to a special edition of Unsportsmanlike Conduct here at the Omaha Baseball Village, where we are joined today by KRT Athletic Muscle Cream, providing increased performance to people who suffer from muscle fatigue and cramps, and by Cross-String Brewing, Nebraska Fresh and always evolving. We would love to have you reach out to us on our special edition Zone Hotline, powered by the Sedora Law Group. Your outcome depends on what you do next, and that's what Venmo Chris did. Venmo Chris writes, what a fun week of shows this has been so far. I love hearing the hosts work with different partners than usual.
Hey-o.
John also texts in, shut the hell up, Matt.
Hey, John.
You haven't even said any words yet.
What a fan. John's just grumpy at me today. He's just been emailing me all day, just grumpy stuff.
Grumpy?
Emailed me. He said to you that I'm delusional. Then
Whoa.
He emailed me and told me that the NBA sucks.
Whoa!
Then he said,
the Lakers sold for $10 billion.
Then he told me that Matt Rule won't last that long at Nebraska. Then he told me I was crazy because I thought Nebraska might win a national championship. He's just been on one. He's just grumpy.
Well, you should be on one right back to him and say,
I'm currently on one right now.
Uh-oh, what happened now, Matt?
I'm just tired.
You're tired of the Wi-Fi. We're tired of the Wi-Fi.
Tired of the Wi-Fi. But hey, we're happy.
No, we're not doing that. We're not starting the show like that. No, we're not, Matt. I mean, we are happy, yes. But we're not starting the show like that. You know who is happy, though? Coastal Carolina. 11-3 victors over, and they move on to the finals of the 2025 Men's College World Series. Will they play LSU? Will they play Arkansas? We might find out tonight, or we might find out tomorrow when it's 100 degrees.
No matter what, we'll probably find out tonight.
Oh, are you saying if Arkansas wins, that Arkansas is winning tomorrow, but if LSU wins, then the series is over?
Yes, I am.
I like it, Matt. I like it. Coastal Carolina, 26 dubs in a row. 26 dubs in a row. Wow.
That's crazy.
It is crazy.
It's almost as crazy as that one NAIA team. They won 59 games this year. Didn't lose once.
That's pretty crazy.
I know.
Man, I'd be so nervous if my team had not lost going into a final.
26 games in a row. How does baseball not baseball? You drop like one of those games.
Well, let's see what happens with them starting on Saturday.
That's a good point.
KD writes, we should talk about how the Lakers are now owned by a Creighton grad. Matt should love that topic. Matt, do you like that the Lakers are owned by a Creighton guy?
Good for
$10 billion.
Good for Mark Walter.
That's the highest amount of money anyone has ever paid for a franchise.
Sound arrogant, but I kind of thought that Lakers might go for more.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like you got to pay a little extra for that.
$10 billion is a lot of money, Matt.
I know, but
that's the most, by far, though.
What did the Broncos go for?
The Broncos, I believe, was 4 or 5.
Well, what was the last team that got traded?
4.65 for the Broncos. The Celtics were sold.
Oh.
And that was 6.
All right, then maybe 10's okay.
10's, I think, is a pretty good number.
I thought the Lakers would go at 12.
Hey, that's a Dodgers guy. A Dodgers guy now owns the Lakers.
Good for the Dodgers.
Most recent Forbes valuation for the Lakers, $7 billion.
Oh, they did overpay.
This was November 19th, 2024.
So that's NBA.
For the Buss family.
What are the?
I don't know.
What are the Lakers or the Cowboys valued at? I think the Cowboys have been valued at 10, which means they would probably sell for 15.
See, that's probably
Jerry, sell the Dallas Cowboys, please. Nothing would make me happier in this entire world. Well, a Super Bowl.
You
win.
are the most unhappy 12-win fan ever.
They won 7 games last year.
Yeah, it happens.
Matt, I have reached the point, and I told this to Mike Schaefer a couple of years ago, or actually a couple of months ago. I am now no longer into the journey. It is about the destination. I don't care about the journey anymore. The journey, they got 12 wins. Cool. They got 12 wins. Cool. They got 12 wins. Cool. But then they lose in January.
I feel like that's a pretty miserable way, though, to root for football.
Yeah.
Because you got to enjoy the wins. As someone who doesn't get a lot of win, I'm telling you right now, you got to enjoy them. But my team doesn't
miserable.
Here's the thing.
So Husker fans should just be happy with what they have.
No. But I'm just saying, at least you get a journey. I haven't gotten a journey in 7 years.
In 7? Oh, to get to the – that's true. No. Didn't you make it during COVID? You played the Saints.
It doesn't count.
And then they got slimed.
It doesn't count.
Remember the slime?
They went like 9-8, and the only reason they got in was because of the expanded playoff.
Remember when they – well, I mean, that's a thing, though. No, that's not true. Oh, that is true,
The first year it went from 6 to 7.
Yeah. Remember when they beat the Buccaneers on Thursday night and Tom Brady forgot how many downs were on a football?
Since the 2018 playoffs, that has been like the greatest moment for the Bears. Win.
And then they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, the Buccaneers did.
Katie says Nebraska ball fans definitely just love the journey. Well, that's all they got.
Well,
should Nebraska basketball fans enjoy the journey?
But like the destination is something that everybody else has accomplished.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, like, winning one tournament game.
One tournament game.
That's sad. That's a destination.
That is a really bleak destination.
It's tough. It's a tough hang.
I mean, Northwestern, not to make this all about Northwestern.
Are you from Chicago?
Didn't make the tournament until 2016.
Remember when they made it?
And has 3 wins in the NCAA tournament.
That's tough.
And Nebraska's got 0.
Yeah, and they've made it many more times.
Many more. They made it 9 times?
I believe that sounds about right.
It's how many crown titles have the Wildcats won?
Oh.
0.
0.
That's right.
Whack
That's
program.
You know what? The crown, we should hang the banner.
Troy said no.
Hey,
it's a damn shame they're not hanging a banner for the crown.
Hey,
how would you feel about a college football crown?
No.
If we did,
it's called bowl games. They do 100 of them.
Yeah, but like we gave a trophy for it.
They do. Bo Pelini picked up a whale one time and said Nebraska's back in here to stay. Remember the whale?
And then did he get fired next season?
No, he got fired 5 years later.
Okay.
Yeah. It took a while. That was only year 2 for Bo. Nebraska's back in here to stay. And then the next year they started 5-0. Things were great until he accosted a message board guy in the basement of the Cornhusker Hotel.
Yeah. Short bus.
The very one.
Yeah. Look at me knowing that, by the way.
That's pretty impressive.
Thank you.
That's pretty impressive.
I've done my homework.
You have done your homework.
Shout out Severe.
Homework Matt is what his name is, and we appreciate you. We appreciate you joining us. We will be on for the next 35 minutes ahead of the nightcap, Arkansas and LSU. What's so funny?
I'm just thinking about, I just have
Bo Pelini yelling at a random guy with a cop near him. Just the strangest visual. And then you know what happened that day?
You know what? So I'll tell you, wait, real quick. I'll tell you a story.
Okay.
So I went to a lunch with somebody. And I said, you need to tell me, like, because I was just, you can look at the boat, you can rewatch the highlights, and you can look at the records, and you can see who the Pelini era, who they beat, who they lost to, whatever. But you don't truly know the stories. Yeah. So I went to about a 2.5 to 3 hour lunch with somebody, and I sat them down, and I had them tell me as many Bo Pelini stories as humanly possible. And at one point I go, I feel like there was something every week.
It was pretty crazy time.
It is insanity. Yeah. All the stories.
The greatest season ever is the 2010 Nebraska football season when there was drama in the offseason. They got off to the 5-0 start. Bo, you went and yelled at a message board guy in the basement of the hotel. And then you know what happened later that day?
What?
They went and lost to a 5-7 Texas team and got totally outplayed over the course of 3.5 hours.
Wasn't there a game where T-Mart went in the locker room and called his dad?
That was the Texas A&M loss later that year.
That is wild.
Yeah, and then the next day, so that night after the game, Carl Pelini accosted a camera guy, had to apologize. Harvey Perlman put out a statement the next day. There were rumors going on. I remember sitting in my dorm room, scrolling the scrolls because there were rumors that Bo's going to get fired.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which didn't happen, obviously, for many more years.
Okay.
2010 season, chef's kiss. That season was an all-timer. My biggest career regret is that I was only in college.
And we didn't get to the part where the UCLA game.
Not that year.
No, I know that. That was 2014, right?
Oh, you're talking about when the audio tape came out? Yeah. So, the audio tape happened.
I know. I'm just saying we're just scratching the surface of the entire Pelini era. This is just one year.
How about the fact that Bo Pelini had 2 audio tapes?
When he got fired at North Star.
He has 2 audio tapes. So the first audio tape was recorded in 2011. That was the one where he was mad at fans and Tom Chattel, who we saw upstairs today.
Who's a friend of mine.
Should have said, hey, Tom, do you remember the audio tape? And then the second audio tape was after he got canned, and he was at North Star, and he called his athletic director bad words over and over and over and over again.
You don't understand. When I was told all of these things, I was like, man, I wish I was here for that.
It was all time.
All of those stories, too, by the way, for me, being a pro fan, like a Bears fan. I was like, this never happens. This is way more
Well, there was that guy who got fired, and they grabbed his computers a few years ago. Remember all the rumors about that guy?
So
that was awkward.
You want a story about that?
I would love a story about that.
So his name's Alan Williams. Okay,
Alan with 2 A's or
Alan
with an A
with
and an
one
E?
A.
1A to Alan.
Or 2 A's. ALAN. So 2 A's.
2 A's. That's why I asked.
My bad. I just had a.
You were thinking AALEN.
Yes.
No.
So
2 A's total.
Go ahead.
2 A's.
And he has a son who played at Michigan State. I have a friend who played at Michigan State.
Look at you.
Baseball.
Oh.
Okay. Both played baseball.
Cool. We love baseball.
And so his son and my best friend were roommates together. Okay. So his son got a lot of gear. Okay. A lot of Bears gear.
Sure.
And gave it to my friend. Well, my friend's a Packers fan. So he would come back home and we would hang out and he would give us a lot of Bears gear.
That's awesome.
So I have a pair of pants, Bears pants, that has Alan Williams' name in them.
That's awesome.
It's one of my favorite pairs of sweatpants. Hey, brother.
Wow. Gen Z unite.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
he said that's a millennial. I'm not discounting
the
him.
disgraced defensive coordinator of the Bears.
You have his name.
Pants.
You have pants with his name.
I also have pants of Jake Peets, who was supposed to be the
Nebraska's
quarterback's
offensive
coach,
coordinator,
for 2 years ago. And then I have an Evan Cooper Carolina Panthers shirt.
Whatever happened to that guy?
He's in Tallahassee.
He is in Tallahassee with half of Nebraska's staff.
Potentially stealing recruits from Nebraska.
Nice. Zach emails in that A&M game was awful with the penalties versus how little A&M was flagged. If I remember right, it was 18 versus 2. 18 penalties for Nebraska versus 2, even though the A&M guy grabbed one of Nebraska's players by the you-know-what.
Well, that was their last game in the Big.
Not the last game. They had a. It was in November, but they still had Colorado. They still had the Big 12 championship.
What was okay?
Yeah, they still had the Oklahoma loss, which was also bad.
Yeah,
and then they went to the bowl game and played Washington, a team that they had run off the field in September.
No, it wasn't the last game. But I was told by somebody that they thought that the Big 12, the fix was in the A&M game.
Correct. Yeah, people definitely think that
the Big 12 was
out to get Nebraska.
Nebraska was leaving that they were throwing the flags.
Look. There was a lot of bad calls. I would also say this. Taylor Martinez couldn't move. His ankle got messed up versus Missouri, and so the best thing that he had was his his speed, his straight line speed, and he couldn't move.
God,
do you
remember
so bad.
When I said earlier today that nobody wins when you talk about Bo Pelini, and now we're talking about Bo Pelini?
And we're winning. This is a good segment, I would say.
This is a great revisionist history from someone who lived it to someone who was told about it.
Mm-hmm. D'Lo writes, not sure what the equivalent of the crown is in college football, but feel pretty confident Nebraska's got nowhere near it.
You don't think they would do college football? Hey, the teams who are 17 to 24, we're going to do a 3-game tournament.
Like a mini playoff?
Yes. Don't you think people would be more interested than South Carolina playing Iowa in the
I don't know.
Music City Bowl in Nashville, Tennessee?
I don't know.
Or wouldn't you rather play in a mini crown than Alabama playing Oregon State in the Capital One Tax Slayer Bowl?
Good questions. I don't know the answer. Alex and Lincoln says, thank you, McMaster. People forget about Northwestern.
People do forget about Northwestern.
And then he says, circle this back to Northwestern. Let's see. A 402 texter says, is Matt Deleu?
What am I doing?
Delulu. I've never heard Delulu.
How am I delusional? What did I say?
I don't know. Let's see. A 402. Go Chickens. I'm listening now. I texted about Dingerville North. I don't know what that means. All right.
We're getting weird text messages.
We're getting very weird text. But you know what's not weird? Hydrating,
Coastal Carolina.
Them too. But hydrating is what I was going to say. And the 1620 The Zone hydration sponsor is Coke Zero Sugar. Is Coke Zero Sugar the best Coke ever? Take a taste. Come by the Zone booth inside of the Omaha Baseball Village. Register to win ice cream for a year from Ted and Wally's. Ted and Wally's official ice cream is 1620 The Zone, celebrating more than 35 years with over 3,000 flavors. Benson and the Old Market, Omaha. We have a guest when we return that we were looking forward to chatting with about some of the stuff going on at the OBV in the days to come. We will do that when we return as we get you set for LSU and Arkansas. LSU wins, they're going to the finals. Arkansas wins, we got one baseball game coming up tomorrow.
Hey, we don't know what time. They get to pick whenever, correct?
It says TBA on the website.
Hell yeah, brother.
Hell yeah, brother, indeed. More to come, 1620, The Zone. Welcome back to a special edition of Unsportsmanlike Conduct, where we are powered by Access Bank, here for a reason, yours, and by Children's Nebraska. And a reminder that Country Fest is back at OBV. This Friday, OBV welcomes Walker Montgomery and special guest Casey Johnson, Kimberly Meyer to the Beer Garden stage. This is an all-ages show. Get your tickets at OmahaBaseballVillage.com. And what great production by our producer, Josh Otson, because right now, we welcome Chad Carr from Carr Productions on behalf of Country Fest. Chad, how are you?
Chad? Never better, never better. We're all excited about Country Fest, and no CWS games on Fridays. So, it's just another reason to come down, enjoy the atmosphere, and listen to three great country artists.
Let me ask you about that, because this is the second or third year where we moved back to the Friday start,
Yes.
The if necessary games. Instead of being 1 and 1, it's now combined. And so that allows you to do a Friday night show. I have to imagine that you really dig that compared to maybe how it would have been in the old days.
Absolutely. So the Mattress Factory has been doing Country Fest since about 2014, and it's just, there's a lot of people that are here from out of town that, they need something to do.
Sure.
Or,
Yep.
they're flying in, Friday morning or Friday afternoon, and they want to do something before the series starts. And so what a great way to spend your Friday night in Omaha, Nebraska.
Now, it is an all-ages show, correct?
All-ages show. Basically, they will have some chairs, and tables in the beer garden area, but no lawn chairs, so leave your lawn chairs at home.
Okay. And now, when does it start? And also, too, for the people, I want to give the people who are listening to the show an advantage here, okay? So if you're listening to the show and you're thinking about Country Fest, what are a couple tips maybe you would give them to give themselves maybe the best seat or the best view, or make sure that their time is maybe a little bit more better because they're listening to the radio?
Number one, rain's not in the forecast.
Good.
But it is supposed to be just a tad bit on the warm side.
Okay.
So make sure that you're comfortable. I always tell the ladies, make sure that you're wearing sensible shoes.
Okay.
So if you want to get close to the stage and stand, because it's a general admission event, doors open at 4 p.m.
Okay.
Show starts at 4:30 with Kimberly Meyer, who's in the Nebraska Country Hall of Fame from Norfolk, Nebraska. And then at 5:30, we have Casey Johns from Nashville. And then Walker Montgomery takes the stage at 7 o'clock. And if people are not familiar with Walker, he is the son of the legendary John Michael Montgomery.
Wow, Chad Carr joining us on behalf of Country Fest. I wanted to ask you about the acts that will be playing on Friday. How do you go about booking this? And now, given that this has been something going on since all the way back in 2014, I have to imagine it's a lot easier to say, hey, look, we've done this. You'll be a part of this type of an experience.
Josh, that's a great question. So, over the past year, I've been traveling around the country and seeing a lot of good music and, some not so good music. I was down at South by Southwest in Austin, and Walker Montgomery was playing the Austin Rodeo. That's how I kind of discovered him. Casey Johns was doing a show out at Bucks and out in Venice, Nebraska, and Kimberly Meyer was doing some stuff Country Drive Live. And so it's random how you find people and come across them. But I think that if people are not familiar with some of these artists, they're going to be really, really pleasantly surprised. For $20, you're never going to see, this caliber of entertainment again.
So 11 years. What have you learned from 2014 to now?
It's one of those things that I have not. I used to own Ticket Express, and that was my initial involvement with the Mattress Factory. But this is my first year working with them as far as bringing people in, and working with artists sometimes is a delight, sometimes it's a challenge. And with these three artists, they've just been a delight. Their booking agent has been a delight.
That's awesome.
But there are other acts that we are already working on for 2026, and so
awesome.
it's one of those things that we hope to catch people like right before they break wide open. Like Chase Matthew played last year, and not a lot of people know who he was, and now everybody knows who Chase Matthew is.
Chad, along those lines, one more before we let you go. In terms of planning, like you just mentioned 26, like how far ahead of the game do you always have to be with an event like this?
It really depends. I mean, basically, every booking agent that an artist has is a little bit different, and you just kind of have to make sure that the stars all align so that everybody can be there on a Friday night, and things that actually route. If the artist is too far away, they can't make it there in time for sound check and load in at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can't wait for the event.
Oh yeah,
it's gonna be awesome. Man. Anything else, Chad, that people need to know?
Tickets are $20. You can get them at the mattomaha.com. Tickets are also going to be available at the door. So if you want to just show up, we would love to have you come.
Awesome. Chad Carr from Carr Productions on behalf of Country Fest. And a reminder that it's back at the OBV like we talked about this Friday. OBV welcomes Walker Montgomery, special guest Casey Johnson, Kimberly Meyer to the Beer Garden stage. All ages show. You can get your tickets at OmahaBaseballVillage.com. Chad, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
All right, we will come back. We will wrap up the show and get you ready for the baseball game coming up later tonight. LSU and Arkansas. Tigers win. They're going to the finals. Arkansas wins, and we have a do or die game coming up on Thursday. We will finish things up when we return live from the Omaha Baseball Village on this special edition of Unsportsmanlike Conduct on 1620 The Zone. Josh Peterson, Matt McMaster with Josh Otson here and Jacob Janicek back in our zone studios.
Robbie, stop.
Matt's getting beat up by Josh's kid. Do you allow this type of behavior, Otson? He says your takes are terrible. All right. Josh doesn't know where his wife is. She might have just dropped off the kid and left. She said,
I locked him up.
She said,
Robbie.
You've been absent for far too long, sir. Absent for far too long. Look at that. You see it on the video stream.
All right, I've locked him up. All right, we're done.
All right.
He said uncle.
Wow.
See? This is why you need a bigger brother to beat up the little kids.
Nice. I was the biggest brother. Alex Sindelar writes, here's a segment for you. Rank the outfield patterns. Oh, she's back. She didn't leave you. That's good. Rank the outfield patterns for the CWS since it's been at TD/SWAT. He came over and just started beating up Matt, hitting him with baseball gloves.
I had to put him in a chokehold. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So he Matt, you have lots of takes, I imagine, on the baseball fields, don't you?
Yeah, looks cool. I'm afraid of Robbie.
Yeah, understandably so.
I have him in the corner of my eye.
Wow. It's like a horror movie where the little kid is like the bad guy. He's staring at you.
Oh, my God. Stop, dude.
Dang it. I wish I could have gotten it in time. Hey, no, I'm hosting the show. Beat up Matt.
I can't.
He's closer in age to you.
I can't keep beating you up.
Pick on someone your own
gonna
size. All right, should we get serious for a couple minutes?
We should. I've triggered this, by the way. This was totally my fault.
Look at you. You're a very mature person.
I'm sorry.
Our man baby.
I definitely baited him.
You have not beat the allegations of being our tiny baby boy, Matt. Our tiny baby boy.
I am surprisingly, I think I'm shorter than everybody on the station minus Bishop.
Okay, you need to stop bringing up your height. You're not short.
I know, but I am small. Like, I am like an inch short.
You everybody need to bring back Shane.
You're 6 foot. Connor's 6 foot.
Yeah.
Gary's 6 foot. And Bishop, I don't know how tall.
At least Stibbs isn't here. He's like 6'4".
That's intimidating. I wish I was 6'4".
How about this? This is a topic. Michael writes, skimming on Twitter, I thought you were the next voice of the Huskers.
Whoa, me?
No, he's saying that to me.
Oh, okay.
Because he read the thing that I reported a little bit ago.
Oh, what did you report?
I like how you asked that. That's a good question. Put out a story a little bit ago on Husker Max that sources are telling me Kyle Crooks is the favorite to be the next voice of the Skurs.
Oh, who is Kyle Crooks?
Kyle Crooks has worked with Florida over the last handful of years.
Okay.
He has been the voice of not football. He's been the voice of a couple of different sports, including women's basketball.
Wow.
He has been involved. He has filled in for men's hoops. He has filled in for baseball games. He's called women's basketball, softball, and soccer matches, though, for the Gator Sports Network. He's had a role in the pregame show. He graduated from college, William Patterson University, in May of 2014.
Whoa.
So a youngster.
Good job, Kyle.
Yep, good job by Kyle. Interviews, I was told, and I put this in the story, interviews, even though Troy Dannon told Tom Chattel back in May that they were really close to wrapping up the process. This was like mid-May. This is a month ago.
Yeah.
Interviews actually took place into June. And ultimately sounds like he is going to be the guy for Nebraska. He's been in town over the last few weeks, met some people within the radio team for Nebraska.
Good luck and congratulations to Kyle.
Yeah.
Hell of a job, hell of an honor to have. Obviously, this has been a rigorous and long process in trying to find the next voice of the Huskers, which I think a lot of people appreciate.
Yes.
Just because it is an important job.
And who he's following.
One of the greatest broadcasters in Nebraska sports history, and an incredible man, and who, I don't know about you, but I was very lucky enough to know pretty well. And so good luck to Kyle. And obviously big shoes to fill, but there was a lot of people who got talked to, and they considered, and definitely an accomplishment just to get picked for the job, if I'm being honest.
A lot of interviews that they did. Dana mentioned it, that there were over 300 applicants for it. Crazy. And the interview process, again, it went up until pretty recently. And so Kyle is going to be tapped to be the guy, according to sources that I'm hearing from. And so we'll see what happens. When they were going through the process, and I don't think this is totally a surprise, because I think Dana kind of mentioned this, but They said you'd be the voice of the football team, voice of the baseball team, and then hosting Sports Nightly, among other things. And I think kind of that front porch to the university type situation, the way that Dannon described it to Tom Chattel was, if we have Hall of Fame type things, that he would be the one to introduce all those things.
Voice of the Huskers, you kind of, in a way, in some ways, you have to be the face of the athletic department in some instances, right?
Definitely. I mean, John, look at Creighton. John does a lot of that stuff for Creighton.
Yeah, and, Greg Sharp did a lot of things for Nebraska. What I do hope is Greg was always gracious with his time when it came to the UNL College of Journalism. Whenever a teacher needed Greg to show up and talk to a class and, mentor young broadcasters and talk to young broadcasters, Greg was always incredibly gracious to do that. He's helped my career. He's helped a lot of people I know their careers in terms of being a voice to talk to. I hope that continues. Yeah. And that Kyle, that's something that he continues to do, because it's incredibly helpful for the young people in the College of Journalism who are looking to break into broadcasting, which and everybody else who works here know isn't necessarily the easiest thing to do. So congrats, Kyle. Hope he does a great job.
Indeed. Turning away from this story now, back to the silly. Steve writes, am I the only one who finds it odd that Matt is so proud of wearing other men's pants?
Oh, wow, that's a great way of putting it. It's cool gear. I have to show. Maybe I'll bring the gear tomorrow.
Show and tell.
No, seriously.
Are we going to be here tomorrow, Matt?
Yeah, we will.
I think so too. I think Arkansas is winning tonight. I want to see these pants.
I feel bad for LSU.
Why?
Because of the rain delay. And they really got screwed over. And it would have been very helpful for them if Anthony Ianson was able to pitch more than 44 pitches.
I see.
And save their bullpen. Because they had to go through a lot of arms yesterday. And I'm just worried that situation is going to end up hurting them greatly. And also, too, they got unlucky that Arkansas used one pitcher one game and then three pitchers their next game, and it's already a bullpen that's deeper than their bullpen.
Correct.
So now they kind of have that advantage with, having some rested arms.
Things couldn't have gotten off to a worse start because they lost their first game. Everything else after that's been pretty good.
They've played one bad inning.
Yeah. That's a great
really
point.
have.
Yeah.
They gave up one inning. They gave up 3 runs, and since then they've been awesome.
Yeah.
They've been really good. I think Gary said 24 of the 27 innings they've played, they haven't allowed to run.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
I mean, they've played good baseball.
And so can they beat a team, though, now that it's 16-5 against them in the last 21 matchups?
Yeah.
LSU has very much owned Arkansas in recent seasons.
But that 2023 team was an incredible team, and they've had a lot of really, really good talent. And, LSU still has some really, really good talent. And it'll be interesting to see, especially these next 2 games. Like, Cade Anderson is the ace for LSU, and he pitched incredibly against Arkansas the first game. He pitched on Saturday, so if we're doing some math here, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, today's Wednesday.
Yeah,
tomorrow will be his 5th day. It'll be interesting to see if Arkansas ends up winning tonight, what do they do with Cade Anderson tomorrow? Do they hope that they win and they can save him for the championship series, or do they use all the bullets in their gun and, use Cade Anderson tomorrow?
Yeah.
So that could be something interesting too. I think that if LSU wins tonight, it is going to be much easier for them to win the College World Series. If they lose tonight, regardless of even if they beat Arkansas, their path to winning the CWS becomes a lot more difficult because Coastal Carolina has that extra day off. And especially when we're talking about CWS is a lot about arms and having depth in the bullpen and having guys who can pitch. And so when you're playing a team that has that one-day advantage, that extra day of rest, it's very, very useful for the team that can kind of cruise to the national championship series, which the Chanticleers have done.
So you and I are in agreement. We like Arkansas tonight to force a winner-take-all matchup tomorrow. So we'll see if that ends up being the case. The pregame is going to start for that in just a few minutes. Before we get ready to go, Jacob Janicek, who's doing yeoman's work back in our studio now, texts into the show.
What did Jake say?
Matt doesn't need to worry about his height. I am more than positive he is taller than Joey and I, laughing while crying emoji.
Well, I'm just talking about the host stuff. Like, it's really interesting to me. Like, everybody is 6 foot.
Yeah.
You're 6 foot. Happer's 6 foot. Yeah. Gary's 6 foot.
Yeah. And you're not.
Amy's 6 foot.
And you're 5'10".
And I'm 5'11".
5'10".
I'm 5'11".
Then might as well just say you're 6 foot.
But I'm not. But I'm not 6 foot.
But I'm not either, but I say I'm 6 foot. Yeah, because that's what normal people do, Matt.
Women know the difference.
Even with shoes?
Yes.
Do they really?
They do.
So, like, you go out to a bar and you are trying to, like...
Well, 6 foot doesn't work at a bar. You got to be 6'2" or above to ride.
Is that what's going on in the streets these days?
Man,
I'm a married man. I don't worry about my height.
Once again, I keep telling people, if I had 2 more inches, I could rule the world.
Yeah. Or have a girlfriend. One of the two.
Or that.
Wow. That's the dream. Can we get Matt a girlfriend?
No. Well, maybe. I don't know. Maybe if we say it loud enough in the OBV.
I think that is really attractive to people.
I think
my friend Matt wants a girlfriend.
The thing is that what I was once told is that desperation is the greatest cologne.
Yeah?
No, absolutely not.
It really is nice.
It's like the
but
worst.
Again, Matt, you have takes.
I have so many takes.
That's got to go so far.
Yeah, I go to a bar. I go, what do you think of Shea Gilgeous-Alexander?
Wow, he pushes off too much. He should have gotten called for a travel as well. He either traveled or he pushed off.
Girl goes up. You come here often? No, but do you think Dylan Raiola is going to take the next step this year?
Honestly, this could be a great bit, Matt. This could be a wonderful bit that you try to do in person.
Everything's a bit. Everything is always a bit.
I love bits. I love doing bits.
Hi!
No, not that bit. We talked about it in passing, but if you did miss it, the Buss family, who have owned the Lakers for many, many years, have agreed to sell the Lakers to Mark Walter. This, according to a variety of sources.
I thought you were about to say Mark Wahlberg.
No, not Mark Wahlberg. He is a Boston Celtics fan.
Marky Mark.
You will know Mark Walter as
Creighton grad.
Bingo. Pretty cool stuff.
And where did he get his graduate degree?
I don't know where.
Northwestern.
Oh, my gosh. Why didn't I just say Northwestern? Everything with Matt comes back to Northwestern.
Wow.
Even though you barely like them.
What do you mean?
You say, like, I didn't even watch them all the time.
No, I mean, it was.
You're not a diehard fan.
No, I mean, is there a diehard Northwestern fan? Is there such thing?
There has got to be one diehard fan.
I can name players. Patty Fisher.
Kane Coulter.
Clayton Thorson.
Greeny.
He didn't play for him.
Diehard Northwestern fan.
Ben Skoranek.
Wow, these are good names.
Julio Louis-Dreyfus.
Who was the offensive lineman from a few years ago?
Peter Skoronsky.
Oh,
and before him was Rashawn Slater.
Nice.
And then there was also
man, guys love naming dudes.
Not Quentin Newsom. That Quentin Newsom played for Nebraska.
Yeah.
But there was
Billy, Jimmy, Timmy Newsom.
There was some
Winston.
John. He got drafted in the first round by the Cleveland Browns. He was really good.
Must have sucked if he went to the Browns. So that's the latest there. We will be back tomorrow. We might have a normal slate of shows on 1620 The Zone.
That would be incredible.
But we'll probably be here, which I'm looking forward to spending.
Athletics,
Creighton, and yes, UNO. At the very least, I just realized that I am not going to have to drive down to the ballpark tomorrow at 8:50 in the morning.
Nice burp.
Yeah.
Excuse you.
Yeah, excuse me. Thank you.
Disgusting
now, Otson might
slob.
have to. Otson might have to drive down here early in the morning, but I just realized I won't. That's it. I can't. No matter what.
Oh.
If I come down here, I'm leaving at 1.
I'll be on at 6 a.m.
You'll be on at 6 a.m. We're looking forward to hearing you and Gary tomorrow morning.
Yes, Gary!
We're also looking forward to hearing the game of the night.
I think Gary is probably home or on his way home.
He's definitely. Hello, Gary, if you're listening.
Gary!
It'll be John Bishop. It'll be Mike Farron. It'll be Connor Happer down on the field as Arkansas and LSU get set to play. Pregame just about to begin. First pitch coming up in about a half hour. If the Tigers win, LSU is back to the National Championship Series. If Arkansas wins, we'll have one more game tomorrow to decide who is playing on Saturday night. Should be a fun one, a great rivalry, though LSU has had the upper hand in recent years.
I will go with the Razorbacks.
Give me Arkansas. For the shorter than Matt McMaster, Jake Janicek back in our zone studio for Josh Hodson. And for you, Matt McMaster. I'm Josh Peterson.
Matt McMaster.
And I'm Josh Peterson. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great night. Enjoy the baseball. We will talk to you at some point tomorrow morning and afternoon.
Cubs win! Cubs win!
Bye-bye.